Welcome to Unveiled Confessions, where the most raw and shocking confessions are revealed. I'm pushing for 1,000 subscribers, and your support makes all the difference. Hit that subscribe button and be part of the journey. You won't want to miss what's coming next. I probably should have stayed home that night. I wasn't even in the mood to go anywhere, to be honest. Work had drained me, and I had a massive pile of laundry I'd been ignoring all week. But then he messaged. Callum. His profile had been sitting in my Tinder matches for like a week. No chat, nothing. Out of nowhere he texts. Netflix and wine? At mine? Chill vibes. And normally, I'd think that was lame, but something about the timing made it sound nice. No pressure. No public small talk over coffee. Just wine, movies, blankets. It was cold out. It sounded easy. His profile was solid. He looked normal. Not too try-hard, not overly filtered. Just a guy holding a dog in one pic, lounging on a couch in another, cooking something in one of those caught-in-the-moment shots. His bio said he worked in tech, lived alone, and loved horror movies, which we'd already joked about during our super short convo earlier that day. He sent an address. It was only a 20-minute walk from mine, and I figured if things were weird, I'd just make an excuse and leave. Simple. I threw on a hoodie, tied my hair up, didn't bother with much makeup, grabbed a bottle of red I had lying around and headed out. It was already dark when I left, and the streets were kind of quiet. Not creepy quiet, just uneventful. There was this weird calm in the air, the kind that makes you feel like you're walking through someone else's dream. The street was tucked behind this row of closed shops, kind of hidden off a back road. It wasn't dodgy or anything, just quiet. Like one of those older streets where all the houses look the same and every porch light flickers. I found the house number 87 and walked up the little stone path. The porch light was yellow, glowing softly. I knocked once, heard footsteps almost immediately. The man who opened the door wasn't Callum. Not even close. He was older. Late 40s maybe. Balding slightly. Wearing a t-shirt with some faded logo on it and gray joggers. At first, I thought maybe it was Callum, maybe his photos were super old or just not representative, but it didn't make sense. This guy didn't feel like Callum. He looked me over like he was trying to figure out if I was lost. But then, without even hesitating, he just stepped aside and motioned for me to come in. I didn't move, just smiled awkwardly and pulled out my phone, ready to double-check the address. The message with the address was gone, like actually gone. The whole chat thread with Callum gone. No profile pic, no messages, no unmatched, nothing. It was just gone, like it had never existed. I refreshed the app. Still gone. My heart did this weird, slow drum thing in my chest. The man was still standing in the doorway, just kind of staring at me. I stammered something about getting the wrong house, but he shook his head slowly and said something like, "You're not wrong." It wasn't a question. It wasn't casual, just flat, like he knew I'd come. I stepped back, told him I was going to call someone real quick, walked back down the steps while pretending to dial. He just stood there, not saying anything, not closing the door. The street felt empty behind me, like it had vacuumed up the usual noises. No cars passing, no wind, nothing. Just that flickering porch light and him standing in the frame. I walked to the corner of the street, turned it, and once I was out of sight, I started power walking. Not running, I didn't want to panic and trip or draw attention, but I was definitely moving fast. Pulled out my phone again. Still no sign of the thread. I tried searching Callum in my texts, just in case we'd talked through SMS, but nothing came up. The Tinder app was acting weird now too. It kept freezing every time I tried scrolling through matches. It felt like someone had snatched him out of the app and wiped the trail. Got home, locked the door, double-locked it, shut the blinds. I poured myself the wine I was supposed to share and just sat there on the couch with my hoodie still on, the bottle between my legs. My head felt light. Not drunk, just floaty. Like the adrenaline had dumped and my body didn't know what to do with itself. I kept thinking about the way he said, "You're not wrong." Like I was expected. Like the address wasn't random. Like someone had given him a heads up. I reported the profile, tried contacting Tinder but got the usual auto replies. The more I thought about it, the more it messed with my head. I'd never had a guy unmatch mid-convo, let alone during an in-person meetup. And even if he did, why delete the address? Why wipe the entire thread? Unless he wasn't the one who sent it. Unless someone else had control of that account. Or maybe, and this is the one that really freaks me out, maybe that profile was never real to begin with. Maybe it was a burner, made just long enough to grab someone like me, just long enough to look convincing, throw out an address, and vanish. A week passed before I even opened the app again. When I finally did, there was no sign of him, no matches like him, no repeat photos. It was like he never existed. I haven't walked down that street since. I've taken the long way around, even when it's completely out of my way. And every once in a while, late at night, I'll think about that moment where I stood on that porch and he just stared. Like he already knew what I'd do. Like this had happened before. And now I always ask to FaceTime before I go anywhere, even if it ruins the vibe. I swear I wasn't even that into her at first. Her profile was alright, nothing wild. A few mirror pics, one blurry group shot where she was holding a big iced coffee and grinning like a meme. Her bio just said something dumb like, Pisces slow texter, fast eater. I don't even know why I swiped right. Maybe I was bored. Or maybe she was just one of those matches where your thumb just kinda moves without thinking. Anyway, she messaged first. Her name was Casey. Pretty normal conversation. She asked what I was doing that weekend. I said not much, and she hit me with, "Wanna grab ramen?" Straightforward. I like that. No games. She picked the spot. Tiny hole-in-the-wall noodle bar tucked in a side street I didn't even know existed. The kind of place with 6 stools and steamed-up windows. She was already sitting when I got there, stirring something with chopsticks and scrolling on her phone like she owned the place. No big entrance, no fake surprised wave. Just looked up, smiled, and nodded at the stool next to her. She was better looking in person. Like, way better. Hair tied back messily, rings on every finger, hoodie 2 sizes too big. Her voice was soft, like she didn't really care if you heard her or not, but not in a rude way, more like everything she said was optional. I remember thinking she felt way too calm, but it was kinda nice. The date was fine. We talked about food and random stuff, nothing deep. She laughed at my jokes but didn't oversell it, and I never once had to reach for something to say. It just flowed. When we finished, she paid for both of us without asking. I reached for my wallet and she just waved it off. Said she lived nearby and asked if I wanted to come chill for a bit. She said it like it was nothing, like it was no big deal at all. Not flirty, not intense, just casual. I said yeah. We walked through a couple blocks, quieter streets now, past some rundown flats and one of those mini corner stores with the flickering open sign. She led me down a side road, then into a tight little street with houses that all looked like they were slapped together with leftover bricks. Not sketchy, just old. The kind of place where you can't tell which lights are broken and which are just never turned on. Her house was one of those terraced places. Narrow door, chipped paint, no number. She unlocked it and pushed it open with her foot. Inside, it smelled weird. Not dirty, not gross, just off. Like old tea and incense and something else underneath I couldn't place. I followed her in. She tossed her keys in a bowl on a tiny table and kicked off her shoes. I did the same. That's when I saw the first guy. He was just standing in the hallway, halfway up the stairs, holding a glass of water and staring down at me. Didn't say anything, didn't move, just stood there, like a pause button had been pressed. I glanced at Casey, but she just walked past him like he wasn't there and headed into the living room, so I followed. I figured maybe he was her brother, or flatmate, or someone's friend. Then I saw another guy. This one was sitting on the floor near the coffee table, cross-legged, staring at the TV that wasn't even on. No phone, no book, just staring. He blinked once when I walked in, but that was it. Not a single word. Just looked at me, then back at the blank screen. The living room was small and cluttered. Blankets draped over everything, half-burned candles on every surface, dusty mugs in weird spots. There was an old bird cage in the corner with no bird in it. A coat rack, with nothing but scarves. The air was warm. Too warm. Casey sat down on a beanbag and patted the floor next to her. I lowered myself down, trying not to look weird, trying to act like this was all chill, but my skin was buzzing. Then more guys started appearing. One stood silently in the kitchen doorway, arms folded, just watching. Another walked down the stairs, slowly, and stood in the hallway behind me. Two more leaned against the far wall, side by side, both barefoot, both just staring. And I mean all of them were men. Different ages, different builds, but the same expression. Blank, calm, focused. No one said anything. I counted 7 in total, including the guy upstairs and the one on the floor. 7. They didn't talk to each other. They didn't check phones or drink or move much at all. They just stood there, watching me. I whispered her name not loudly, just enough for her to hear, and she finally looked up, like she'd only just noticed the tension. And she smiled. Not in a creepy way, not even in a weird way. Just soft, like she thought this was sweet or something. She said they just wanted to get to know me. That's it. I laughed a little, awkwardly, like maybe she was joking. But none of them laughed. And the worst part was she wasn't joking. She genuinely thought this was fine. Like 7 guys standing silently in her house, watching me, was a totally normal way to end a date. I stood up, didn't say anything, just stood. My legs felt heavy. My back was hot. Every guy's eyes tracked me like security cameras. I told her I had to go. I mumbled something about an early shift. She just nodded. No protest. No, stay. Just nodded like she expected it. One of the men moved to the door as I walked toward it. I froze, thinking he'd block me, but he opened it. Just opened it and stepped aside, still watching me. The air outside hit me like I'd been underwater. I didn't run. I didn't want them to follow. I just walked. Fast, hands in pockets, head down, heart trying to punch its way out of my ribs. When I got home, I deleted the app. Not just unmatched full delete. Like, gone. Account, history, everything. I don't even remember what I said to my housemate when I came in. I think I told her the date was weird, but I never explained what actually happened. Not even now. And I never saw Casey again. But sometimes I wonder how many other guys didn't walk out. So I'd been on this dry spell not just romantically, but in terms of even trying. My Tinder was basically a collection of half-dead matches, meme swaps, and people ghosting mid-convo. I wasn't bitter, just kinda over it. But one Friday night I got this match with a girl named Amber. No intro message, no small talk, just a heart react to one of my photos, and then, drinks this weekend? Her profile gave nothing away. 4 pictures. One of her at a beach, one mirror selfie, one where she's just legs and heels in a hotel hallway, and another blurry one of her holding a cocktail with someone cropped out. No bio, just her name, age, and a location that said she was 3 miles away. I don't know why I said yes. Maybe I was just curious. Maybe it was boredom. I suggested a bar near the station busy enough that it wouldn't feel awkward if things were dead, but not one of those places where you have to shout just to order a drink. She agreed immediately, told me to pick a time, then didn't message again until the night of. She showed up 20 minutes late, no apology, just walked in, made eye contact, then sat down like we'd known each other forever. She was dressed nice, I'll admit that. All black, long coat, hair super straight and glossy, nails white and sharp. She looked expensive, not overdressed, just intentional, like every bit of her had been placed carefully. I stood to greet her, but she barely acknowledged it. Just pulled her phone out the moment she sat and started typing away. I figured maybe she was sorting something out. I ordered us drinks. She didn't even tell me what she wanted, just said, "You pick something good," without looking up. So I got her what I thought was a safe bet gin and tonic. She didn't react when I brought it over. The date was weird. Like, properly weird. Every time I tried to talk, her replies were short and flat. Not rude, but not interested either. Just nods, the occasional yeah or cool, and then right back to her screen. She wasn't even scrolling like normal. She was typing nonstop. Her face was lit up blue the whole time. Sometimes she'd pause, wait, then smile at the phone. I saw her take a couple of sneaky selfies too. Not of us, just her. I asked a few times what she was texting about, tried to joke that maybe she was live tweeting the date or something. Nothing, just more nodding. After about an hour of me basically talking to myself, she finally said she had to go. No reason, no mention of how it went. Just grabbed her coat and stood up. Outside the bar, it was already dark and kind of drizzling. She stood under the awning and finally looked me in the eye for more than 2 seconds, and then she hit me with it. She said she doesn't do second dates with guys who can't prove they're serious. That was her exact phrase. I blinked, confused, thinking she meant like emotionally serious or something. Then she pulled her phone back out and showed me a QR code. No explanation. Just held it up like a waiter showing you the menu. I genuinely thought it was a joke. I laughed, but she didn't laugh. She just tilted her head slightly, like she was confused that I was confused. I asked what it was for and she said it was a gesture payment. A gesture payment. I scanned it with my phone out of curiosity and, yeah, it was a link to send her money. Through some weird third-party payment app I'd never heard of. Not PayPal, not Cash App. Something sketchy looking with a purple logo. I looked back up at her, waiting for her to say, just kidding, but she didn't. She just stood there, phone in hand, holding out her QR code like it was the final step of a parking ticket. I didn't say anything. I just put my phone back in my pocket and said I had to catch my train. She didn't chase after me, didn't text, nothing. I walked to the station in silence, my brain trying to catch up to what just happened. Not just the QR code the whole night. The silence, the typing, the selfies, the dead energy, the sudden switch at the end. It was like I wasn't even there for her. Like I was a placeholder in some weird ritual. When I got home, I checked her Tinder again. She was still matched with me. No unmatch, no follow-up. I looked through our old messages. They were still there. That was even weirder to me. Like, if I was her, I would have unmatched immediately. Blocked, moved on. But she didn't. So I did. I unmatched her. Then, out of curiosity, I searched the payment app she used. Found almost nothing. A Reddit thread with people saying they'd been sent links like that before by random people on Instagram or dating apps. Most said they blocked it. One guy said he actually sent money like £30 and never heard from the girl again. That messed with my head a bit. Made me wonder how many people she's done this to. How many actually pay? How many don't even think twice? I deleted the app a few days later. Not because I was scared or anything, but just because I couldn't be bothered anymore. The idea of sitting through another dead-eyed date just for someone to hit me with a Venmo at the end felt like punishment. I never saw Amber again. Never got a message. Never saw her walking around my area. But sometimes I think about how confident she was holding up that QR code. Like it wasn't weird. Like I was the one being difficult. Gesture payment. I still can't believe that's a thing now. So this one started off normal. Actually, better than normal. It was one of those rare times where the conversation on Tinder actually flowed. No dry replies, no weird pickup lines. Just solid back and forth. His name was Josh. Or at least that's what it said on his profile. He looked cute, not in a filtered influencer way, more like the boy next door vibe. Light stubble, messy hair, glasses in one photo. All his pics were casual. One in a hoodie. One with a dog. One blurry mirror selfie where he was probably half asleep. He asked to meet for drinks. Suggested this low-key bar not too far from where I live. Said it wasn't too loud, good booths, and the drinks weren't crazy expensive. I Googled it before saying yes. just in case it looked weird or empty, but it checked out. Kinda dark inside, moody lighting, those candle in a whiskey glass type tables. Seemed alright. I got there early. Not super early, just like 10 minutes. Ordered myself a drink and sat in one of the back booths. Texted him to say I was there. A few minutes later, he walked in. And yeah, he looked like the photos. Same messy hair, same quiet face. He was wearing a denim jacket and black jeans. His shoes were a bit scuffed, but whatever. He smiled when he saw me and came over, all casual. Said hey, sat down, asked if I'd been waiting long. All normal. The date started out fine. Nothing super deep, just basic small talk. What we do, what shows we're watching, where we grew up. He seemed a little quiet, but not in a bad way. More like he was a bit tired or distracted. I figured maybe it had been a long day. Then about 20 minutes in, I noticed him glancing over my shoulder. Like, not just once he kept doing it. Every couple of minutes. And it wasn't subtle. He wasn't trying to hide it. I asked him if something was up, and he just kind of shook his head and smiled weirdly, like he was half listening. Then he took out his phone and started typing something. Not a full-on scroll, just typing, pausing, typing again. A few seconds later, he looked up, gave me this really blank expression, and just stood up. No joke. He stood up, said nothing, and walked out. I sat there stunned. Didn't even have time to ask what was going on. I thought maybe he got an emergency call or something, but he didn't even say goodbye. Just dipped. I looked around, trying to figure out if maybe I missed something. And then I saw another guy walk in. And this is where it got completely messed up. The guy who walked in looked exactly like the one who just left. Not kind of similar. Not, he looks like his brother. I mean identical. Same face, same hair, even the same stubble. But this one was wearing a black hoodie instead of the denim jacket. He looked straight at me, didn't even look around the bar, just locked eyes and came over like he knew me. And then he sat down. He slid into the booth across from me like we were already mid-conversation. No introduction, no awkwardness, just like that. Then he said something that I still think about, even now. He said, "Sorry about him. I'm the one you were supposed to meet." I actually laughed at first. Thought it was a joke, like maybe they were twins and they'd planned some dumb prank. But he didn't laugh. He just sat there, watching me like he was the one who was confused. I asked him what he meant, and he just kind of leaned in like he was trying to explain something without making a scene. He said there'd been a mix-up, that sometimes it happens, but that it was all sorted now. He never said the name of the guy before him. Never explained if they were related, or if it was even the same account. I was completely thrown off. I mean, I knew what I saw. I saw the first guy come in. I spoke to him. We had a drink together. Then he left. And this guy, who looked like a carbon copy, came in and acted like he was the real date. I asked him to show me his Tinder, just to confirm it was the same guy. He smiled, pulled out his phone, opened the app, but the profile looked slightly different. Same name Josh, same age, but a different photo. Same face, but now he was wearing a suit in the profile picture, like one I hadn't seen before. The bio was also slightly different. It now said something about real connections only. It hadn't said that before. I felt this weird crawl go up my back, like something was off, but I couldn't prove it. I checked my own phone, opened the chat, and yeah, the photos matched the new guy, not the denim jacket one, the suit one. But I remembered the denim guy. I talked to him, and that was not the face I swiped on. The guy sitting across from me started acting normal after that, asking me the same kind of questions, making small talk, like nothing strange had just happened. But I wasn't in the mood anymore. My drink felt warm in my hand, and the booth felt smaller all of a sudden. I told him I had to go. He didn't argue, just nodded and said he understood. Said he hoped I'd still give him a chance. I stood up, left a 10 on the table, and walked straight out. When I got home, I opened Tinder again. The chat was still there, but when I clicked the profile, it said, "No longer available." Not unmatched, not blocked, just gone. That night I kept thinking about the switch. Like, was it a game? Were they actually twins running the same account? Or was it something weirder, like some kind of trick, a bait and switch thing? One hooks you, the other shows up and pretends to be the real one. I don't know. But I know this. I met two men that night with the same face. One left, one stayed, and neither of them felt real. So I met her on a Tuesday. I remember that because I usually delete Tinder every Monday, swear I'm done, and then re-download it by Tuesday like clockwork. Her name was Lana. Blonde, artsy, nose ring, 2 cats in her bio, one of those profiles that doesn't try too hard. Just 4 photos and a single line. I like weird things. I wasn't expecting much. Swiped, matched, she messaged first. That caught my attention. Just a thumbs up emoji, but still, we talked a bit. She replied fast but with short answers. Dry, but not rude. Then she asked if I wanted to come over that weekend. Just chill, nothing big. I said yeah. The plan was simple movie night at hers. I offered to bring snacks. She said she already had everything. That was kind of a red flag, but not enough for me to say no. I told myself it'd probably be a quick hangout, maybe an hour or two, and I'd be home before midnight. Her building was tucked behind this weird row of car repair shops, the kind with half-dead signs and oil stains across the pavement. Not the worst area, but definitely not polished. Her flat was on the 3rd floor, no elevator, sketchy lighting in the stairwell. You know the vibe. When she opened the door, she looked exactly like her photos. That almost never happens. She was wearing this massive black jumper and a chipped nail polish, which weirdly made me feel more relaxed. Like she wasn't trying to put on a show. Her place smelled like incense and burnt popcorn. She said the popcorn thing wasn't on purpose. I stepped in, and right away felt something was off. The first thing I noticed was the walls. There were pictures, loads of them, all framed, all spaced evenly like some kind of home gallery. At first I didn't really pay attention, just thought maybe they were her friends or something. But the more I looked, the weirder it got. Every photo was of a guy. Not like selfies or couples photos, I mean solo shots. All different guys, all in different places. Some looked like they were taken in her flat. Others looked like random public spots, cafes, parks, even one that looked like a laundromat. Most of them were smiling, but a few looked like they'd been caught off guard. Not creepy, just weird. It was like each photo had been picked specifically for how normal the guy looked in it. I asked her what they were. She smiled and said, casual as anything, that those were all the guys she's met on Tinder. She said it like she was talking about her vinyl collection. I laughed because what else are you supposed to do? I thought maybe it was a joke, like a weird ironic art project or something. She didn't laugh, just walked into the kitchen and asked if I wanted a drink. I followed slowly, still staring at the wall. There were probably 50 or 60 photos. Some of them looked like Polaroids. A few were printed on regular paper and stuck in cheap frames. Others were clearly more recent glossy prints, better quality. I spotted one where the guy was holding a slice of pizza and had his eyes half closed. Another where the dude was clearly mid-sentence. There was an empty frame on the coffee table. No photo. Just the frame, sitting upright with no backing. She came back with 2 glasses of orange juice, no alcohol, just plain juice, and pointed to it. She said, "That one's for you." I didn't even know how to respond. I made some awkward joke like, well, I hope it's a good angle, but my stomach felt like it dropped through the floor. She didn't laugh, just sipped her drink and kept looking at the frame. We sat down on the couch. The TV was on but muted some old sitcom I didn't recognize. She asked me questions, but not normal ones. Stuff like how many people I'd matched with in the past month, if I ever met anyone twice, what my longest date was, stuff like that. She asked how long I usually stay at someone's place, whether I let people take photos of me, whether anyone ever asks where I'm going before I leave. It didn't feel like flirting. It felt like she was collecting data. I asked if she took the photos herself. She nodded, said she always takes one before the night ends. Just one. Said she likes to remember them. Them? Not people. Not guys. Them. I started to feel really claustrophobic. The room wasn't small, but the silence was heavy, like everything was padded, like the walls were listening. I looked at the hallway again, all those faces, all those guys, just hanging there like wallpaper. None of them were repeated. None of them looked older than maybe 35. A few even looked like teenagers. I told her I wasn't feeling great, made up something about a headache. She didn't protest, just nodded slowly and stood up to walk me out. At the door, she asked if I was okay getting home. I said yeah. She smiled again and said maybe next time I'd feel better. Said she hadn't taken the photo yet, that she'd wait until I was ready. I practically jogged down the stairs, didn't even look back, got outside and didn't stop walking until I was 3 blocks away. When I got home, I checked our chat. Still there. No new messages. Her profile hadn't changed. Same photos, same bio. I unmatched her, then deleted the app again. I don't know what her deal was. Maybe it was some creepy art thing. Maybe she just had a messed up sense of humor. But that wall of faces, that empty frame, that wasn't a joke. She didn't take my photo that night. But I think she still plans to. This one still messes with me when I think about it too long. And honestly, I wasn't even that into him. His name was Tyler. One of those matches you say yes to just 'cause you're bored, then forget you swiped until they message you like 2 days later. His opener was nothing special, just, you look fun. He had that try-hard, messy hair, wore those fake, vintage band tees that you know he bought in a 3-pack, and his bio was like good vibes and fast cars. I almost unmatched straight away, but I was in a slump. I said yes to the first person who asked to meet. He picked a quiet bar in the middle of this retail park, one of those weird ones stuck between a gym and a vape shop. I Ubered there, thought maybe we'd get a drink or two, and I'd bounce if he was weird. He wasn't weird at first. That's the thing. He was kind of normal. Talked a lot, but not in a bad way. Just had this hyper energy like he needed to constantly fill space. Kept checking his phone, like he was expecting someone to interrupt, but I figured he was just one of those types who couldn't unplug. He talked about his car a lot, said he loved fixing things, said he knew how to get around the city without using maps, said the word engine too many times for a casual conversation. I kind of zoned out after drink 2, but I wasn't scared or anything. It just felt like a mid-level date with a guy who probably vapes watermelon flavor and sends gym selfies to group chats. I was already thinking of how to wrap it up when he offered to drive me home. I hesitated. Like, something about it made me pause. I don't usually let guys drive me anywhere, especially not after one meetup. But it was cold. I didn't want to order an Uber and stand outside for 15 minutes, and he seemed harmless. His car was parked just outside the bar, this beat-up old black Honda with tinted windows and those lights that flicker when you unlock the door. I got in. It smelled like old air freshener and Red Bull. His passenger seat was clear, but the back was a mess. Gym clothes, empty bottles, a McDonald's bag, random wires. I buckled in, and we started driving. He had the music low and the heating blasting. Talked the whole time. Didn't even ask for my address until we were halfway out of the parking lot, which should have been another red flag. But again, I was tired. I just wanted to get home. About 10 minutes into the drive, I told him to take a left, but he missed it. Just kept going, said something about knowing a quicker route. I tried not to get annoyed. Thought maybe he did this drive a lot and genuinely knew some shortcut. The roads got quieter, less streetlights, more trees, fewer houses. I went to open the window. The button didn't work. I looked over at him and asked if it was jammed. He smiled and said something dumb like, "Yeah, this car's got character." I laughed politely, then reached for the door handle. Just checking. No real reason. Just instinct. It didn't work. Like, the handle moved, but nothing happened. I tried again. Same thing. The lock was down. I looked at him. He was still driving, eyes on the road, like nothing was wrong. I asked if the door was locked. He said, "Oh yeah, child lock. Real casual." Then he laughed. That weird kind of laugh that doesn't match the mood. Too loud, too long. I didn't say anything for a few seconds. Just looked down at the door. The manual lock button, the little thing you pull up with your fingers, wasn't even there. Just a hole where it should be, like it had been pulled out. I told him to unlock it. He said, "The button on my side is busted too." Then silence. I felt my chest start to buzz. That kind of numb panic that starts in your ribs and works its way up. I asked again, more firmly. He didn't answer, just kept driving. I tried the window again. Dead. No movement. I even leaned into the back seat, tried the rear handle. Same story. I asked where we were going. He mumbled something about a shortcut again. But we were on this narrow road now, no streetlights, no signs, just trees on both sides. I didn't recognize anything. I don't even think there were houses anymore. That's when I started planning. I didn't want to freak out too early, but I also knew I couldn't wait much longer. I kept my voice calm, pretended to still be chill. I asked him if we could stop so I could pee. Said I drank too much. Said I didn't want to embarrass myself in his car. He laughed again, but this time it sounded more fake. Said he'd pull over in a bit. I spotted a lay-by, like a little dirt pull-off on the side. I pointed at it. He slowed down, then passed it. I started pretending I felt sick. Said my stomach was turning. Said I might throw up. Rolled down my window a crack, even though it didn't work. Just started gagging, loudly, even though I was totally fine. He finally stopped. I unbuckled fast, tried the handle again just in case. Nothing. He looked over, annoyed, said I was being dramatic. I ignored him, leaned toward him, and told him to unlock it again, but this time I said it firmly. He rolled his eyes, reached down, and that's when I unlocked it myself. Turns out he could open it from his side. He just didn't want to. The second I heard that click, I yanked the door open and jumped out. Didn't run. Not yet. I acted like I was still sick. Stepped a few feet away from the car, hands on my knees, pretending to gag. I heard his door open. That was my cue. He bolted. Straight into the trees. No idea where I was, but I didn't care. I just ran. Twigs snapping, branches hitting my face, mud on my shoes. I kept going until I couldn't hear the car anymore. Eventually I found a fence, then a road, then a lit house. I pounded on their door until someone opened it. The police were called. I gave them everything, his name, his car, his profile, the chat logs. They said they'd investigate, but I never heard back. His profile disappeared a few days later. Probably deleted it. I don't use Tinder anymore, and I never get in a guy's car on the first date, no matter how normal they seem. I've had some weird dates from Tinder, but this one wasn't weird at first. That's probably what makes it stick in my head the most. It started completely normal. Like, too normal. Her name was Elise. Red sweater in her profile pic, soft lighting, no filters, no cringe bios, just a simple coffee, cocktails, and a book emoji. Our conversation felt natural. She used punctuation, which is rare these days, and actually asked me questions. We joked about bad dates, talked about films, shared Spotify links. I remember thinking she had this calm vibe, like she wasn't in a rush for anything. After a couple days of messaging, I asked if she wanted to meet up. She suggested this bar downtown. Said it was casual, not too loud, good mojitos. I looked it up and recognized it kind of a trendy spot, always packed on weekends. I got there first. The place was already buzzing. Tables full, music low enough that you could still talk. I grabbed a high-top table near the back, texted her that I'd arrived, and ordered a drink. A few minutes later, she walked in, same girl from the pictures. Red sweater again, which I thought was a nice touch. Her hair was tied back loosely, and she had that same calm energy in person. She smiled when she saw me and walked right over, sat down across from me. Like we'd already done this before. The conversation was easy. We talked about the bar, the drinks, random stuff like food combos we hated and the worst movies we'd seen. She laughed at my dumb jokes and made a few dry ones of her own. She told me she was a copywriter for a tech company, that she liked walking around bookshops just to smell the pages. Stuff like that. Nothing deep, but nothing fake either. At one point, she excused herself to use the restroom. She stood up, said she'd be right back, and walked toward the hallway past the bar. I watched her go. That red sweater was easy to spot, even in a crowded place. And then she didn't come back. At first, I wasn't worried. I figured maybe there was a line. Maybe she got caught up. I scrolled through my phone, sipped my drink, checked the time. 10 minutes. 15. I looked over at the hallway. People were going in and out of the restrooms. A couple of girls came back laughing. Some guy came out adjusting his jacket. "No, Elise?" I texted her. No response. I waited 5 more minutes, then stood up and walked over to the hallway. Knocked gently on the restroom door, feeling like a creep. Nothing. I went back to the table, thinking maybe she'd returned while I was gone. But no. The chair was still empty. Her glass was still there, barely touched. I asked the bartender if he'd seen where she went. He blinked at me like I was asking something strange, said I'd been sitting alone all night. I asked again, thinking maybe he was messing with me. He just shook his head and moved on to the next customer. Now I was really confused. I sat back down, pulled out my phone again, and opened Tinder to check our chat. Gone. Not like unmatched. I mean gone. No chat history, no profile, just empty space where our conversation used to be. No name, no pictures, nothing. I checked my texts. Nothing there either. We'd only used the app. I even scrolled through my camera roll just in case I'd taken a screenshot earlier in the week, but nope, nothing. Not even a saved picture of her profile. For a second, I wondered if I imagined her. Like, was I tired? Was this a dream? But no, the drink she ordered was still there. I could still smell the perfume she wore. Her glass had lipstick on it. I sat there for another 10 minutes, staring at that half-full glass, trying to make sense of it. I tried checking the Wi-Fi for device history, as if that would help. Tried searching her first name in Instagram, Facebook, anything, but I didn't know her last name, and nothing looked familiar. Eventually, I left. The walk home felt weird, like I was walking out of a glitch, like I'd stepped sideways into some alternate version of the night that didn't finish loading. I kept refreshing Tinder, hoping something would show up, some notification, some trace. Nothing. When I got home, I checked the app again. Still blank. No Elise. I sat on the edge of my bed for a while, just holding my phone, staring at my messages. I didn't even tell anyone what happened that night. Not for a few days. When I did, people thought she just bailed, unmatched, dipped. But I saw her. We talked. The bartender swore I came in alone. And the weirdest part? Her drink was still there when I left, untouched. No one cleared it. No one questioned it. I've been back to that bar since. Never saw her again. This one still feels weird to tell because it sounds fake, but I swear every part of it happened exactly like this. I don't even know how I didn't see it coming. The signs were there. I just brushed them off like an idiot. So her name was Mia. Short, dark hair, glasses, full fringe. All her photos were slightly off-center, like someone else had taken them in a hurry. She looked quirky, but in a cool way. Her bio was literally just, "Not for the weak," which I honestly thought was just one of those edgy one-liners people put when they don't know what to write. She messaged me first, said she liked my taste in music. We talked a bit, and she asked if I wanted to grab a coffee sometime. I suggested Saturday. She said, cool. Gave me the name of this independent cafe. I'd never heard of one of those new ones that look like they only serve stuff with oat milk and croissants that cost like £5. Saturday rolls around. I get there a few minutes early and text her saying I'm outside. No reply. I walk in, and that's when I see her. She's already there, sitting at a corner table near the back. But she's not alone. There are 2 people with her, a guy and a girl. I hesitate, thinking maybe I got the wrong person, maybe she has a twin. But she spots me, waves me over, like this is completely normal. So I walk up, still confused, and she introduces me to her friends. I'm too awkward to ask why they're here. I just sit down, and that's when it starts. The girl next to her blonde, serious face, like she's already annoyed with me, leans in and asks me what I do for work. I blink, laugh nervously. Tell her. She nods like she's jotting it down mentally. The guy, tall, gym guy vibes, clearly sizing me up, asks what kind of salary that brings in. I laugh again, thinking it's a joke. He doesn't laugh back. Neither of them do. I glance at Mia. She just sits there sipping her drink, watching me like I'm a YouTube video. Then they start rotating questions, one after another. No breaks. What are my 5-year plans? Do I rent or own? Do I believe in marriage? What's my relationship like with my parents? Have I ever cheated? What's the most expensive thing I've ever bought someone? Have I ever had therapy? Do I have any debt? How much is in my savings account? I'm not even joking. They went that far. At first, I thought maybe they were just messing around. Like it was some weird test, some let's see how you handle pressure type thing. But the tone didn't shift. It got heavier. The guy leaned forward like he was getting ready to argue. The girl started writing stuff in a notebook, like literally writing stuff down. At one point, Mia asked if I'd ever fought someone. Before I could answer, the gym guy asked if I'd be willing to fight him if it meant protecting her. I laughed, said I'd rather not fight anyone over coffee, tried to keep it light. That was a mistake. He smirked and said, "So you wouldn't." I looked around. The cafe wasn't busy, but it wasn't empty either. A couple in the corner, a barista wiping tables. No one seemed to notice what was happening, or maybe they just thought we were having a loud, weird group date. I tried to stand up, said I needed the toilet. Mia's friend, the guy, stood up too, real slow, and stepped slightly to the side, right between me and the door. That's when he said it. "You haven't answered everything yet." Just like that. I sat back down. Not because I wanted to, but because my stomach suddenly felt heavy, like something was pressing into it. I was doing mental maths. How long had I been there? How many people knew where I was? Had I told anyone I was meeting her? They kept going. Asked about my past relationships. Asked how many Tinder dates I'd been on. Asked why I hadn't settled down yet. Asked what I thought Mia deserved in a partner. The entire time, Mia said maybe 10 words total. She just watched, not smiling, not reacting, just studying me like I was under a microscope. I started giving short, useless answers. Shrugging, nodding, trying to disengage. Didn't matter. They pushed harder. The questions started sounding less like questions and more like accusations. Like I'd already failed some invisible test and now they were just confirming it. Eventually, I tried again. I stood up and said I had to go. This time, I didn't wait for permission. I just moved. The guy didn't step aside right away. He paused, looked at Mia. She didn't say anything, just took another sip of her drink and finally nodded. He stepped aside. I walked out without looking back. Didn't even grab my coat from the back of the chair. Just left. I felt like my whole face was on fire. Walked halfway down the street before I let myself breathe properly. I blocked her on everything. Tinder, Instagram, whatever I could find. I deleted the app again, not even out of fear. Just out of pure, what the hell was that? For days I kept checking social media, half worried I'd see my name pop up on some list. Unsuitable candidates, or some viral thread about worst first dates. Never heard from her again. Never saw her or her two friends anywhere. But sometimes I wonder how many people have sat at that same table. How many walked away? How many didn't?